And we were like, oh, this will be fun. Like, students will have fun. And we didn't account for the fact that water balloons, when it hits people, it hurts.
Yes.
MG had placements.
Yes.
Wait.
Whoa.
We were making money out of the fact that these people hated each other, these two teams. And it got kind of out of hand to a point where Faratullah sir came in and had to cancel the event.
I want one answer. That's why I'll ask you again.
There's one which I shouldn't talk about. I mean, it was kind of controversial, but okay, I'll tell you something. So we.
Welcome to SAFAR, a space where we talk about the journeys that shapes us who we are. Each story here is a step, a lesson, and a voice that reminds us of how far we have come. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Orators Club, an official literary club at MJCET.
We are the voices of MJ that keep stories alive, from heartfelt conversations to debates. We are here to tell them all. I'm Afan Ahmed.
And I'm Amtul Jamil. Together we'll be the host of the very first episode of SAFAR.
Joining us today is Amir Shadaab, senior software engineer at HubSpot, a tech mind who began his journey when IT was just taking off in Hyderabad. A proud MJCET alumnus, Amir helped shape the college's tech future through Blitzkrieg, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Axofus, leading innovations, workshops, and coding challenges that inspired many, from campus visionary to global tech professional. Please welcome Amir Shadaab. Adab to Mr. Amir Shadaab. It's an absolute pleasure to have a conversation with you.
I haven't heard that one before.
Mr. Amir Shadaab, how was your SAFAR? Tell us a little about your time at MJCET, what you studied, and what was college like back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ancient times basically. I joined MJ in 2006. I passed out in 2010. I was in IT department, which no longer exists, I was told.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a very different time. If there's anything specific you want to know, let me know.
Right now, there's a huge storm with AI and different online tools and such. During your times, how was the vibe regarding the study trends? Was it more towards textbook and very traditional learning, or did you have other innovations?
No, it was pretty slow and traditional and standard. It wasn't as fast paced and dynamic as it is in today's day and age, honestly. So it was pretty bookish, if I'm being honest. What was uh in the curriculum was what we learned. There was not really an emphasis on learning outside of what was in our coursework.
Textbooks. Till date, none of us have ever touched a textbook. We do not have the concept of textbooks whatsoever. It's either notes through PDFs
Or
and
to ChatGPT, I guess.
I think
Yeah.
I'm dating myself here by saying textbooks and all of these terms that you guys don't even understand anymore.
Okay, now I think because of the tools that we have and PDFs, it has become far more efficient to study. So people don't really do make notes since they're already available. So the students are study the exam night before the exam and take the notes just night before the exam. Were you one of those kids, or was it different?
I mean, I was not really a model student, honestly. I was a problem child, and yeah, I didn't really make any notes. I barely attended classes. I shouldn't be saying this, but yeah, I got notes from my friends. But I would say I was always a curious kid. I really like to learn. And yeah, right before internals and externals, I would really put emphasis on trying to understand subjects rather than just cramming things up and just regurgitating it in on a piece of paper. I mean, there were some subjects where I did do that, but most of the time I was trying to understand things, and I feel like that has helped me evolve as a person, and even in my career generally.
But okay, this is a very related moment for everyone, all of us. During your third to fourth year, you have that 3 a.m. blues and what's next, juggling assignments, internals, exams, GPA, maybe your social life, and then what's next. How was that for you? How did you deal with that period?
Uh, I mean, it was fine. I didn't really feel any pressure with assignments or internals or externals. It was just very organic, honestly. I didn't really take too much pressure, and even with like what's coming next, I didn't really think about it. I should have. I probably should have, and I don't think you should do what I did, which is not think about the future too much. But it all panned out pretty good for me, alhamdulillah. But yeah, I think it's great to see so many students who are currently studying in MJ already thinking about all these things. It gives me a lot of hope that all the mistakes that I made, if I'm in a decently good position after not paying too much attention, like if you do pay attention to all these things, then where will be. So I'm really happy and hopeful for you guys.
What was it like for you to organize the events? Because now we have clubs for specific department, we have specific club, or like in general, we have 30 to 32 clubs right
40
now.
plus clubs.
40 plus? Wow, that's big. 40 plus clubs. So what was it like back then organizing events and fests?
I think I was part of two fests in third year and fourth year. Third year was at SAFAR, and I don't know how I got to become like the representative from the IT department in that year, and I was yeah, I was attending all the big meetings and with professors and like planning out how the event is going to be, like what events we'll have for the fest. So that was great. And then the next year we organized something called Blitzkrieg, which was IT department specific. So it came out of the rivalry of the departments. Like CSC was a rival department, and they had something called Carpe Diem or something like that. I don't even remember. But they had some fest, and like IT folks were just sitting around, like watching them do things. And in the last moment, we decided, okay, why are we just sitting around? Well, let's do something. And hence the name Blitzkrieg, which is like a World War II reference, which is when the Germans attacked
Yes.
the Soviet Union
That
in
rings a bell
a
now.
surprise attack. But Germans were the bad guys, so I don't know why we named it Blitzkrieg. So, but yeah, it was very similar to Axophus. A lot of fests, a lot of events, both technical and non-technical. And it was really good to kind of have like a bird's eye view of how things work, meaning we were able to recruit people like and look at strengths and weaknesses of different people. Like, oh, someone's interested in academics, let them lead the programming hackathon competition or whatever. Someone is creative, not really an academic, so let's create an event for them. We literally had an event where it was called Movie Mania, like where you could just create short films and submit it, and we would just like.
So were there domains for the categories what we could present?
No, there was. We probably should have, but it was so brand new that it was unorganized, and we would like do whatever comes to your mind. And like the creative ideas were flying all over the place. Honestly, some not so college friendly entries also came in, which was fun to watch. And then we picked like 5 or 6 top movies, short film made by the students, and then we had a premiere for those movies, and we charged tickets to other students to come and watch those tickets. So it was all just these ideas, right? Like organizing and how to make money, how to organize. Like suddenly there's an influx of students who want to come in and watch the movie. So how do you manage that? It's unplanned. So it taught us resilience. It taught us like how to deal with people. There are sometimes difficult people. There are sometimes like very agreeable people. You need to have this mindset that you're very curious and keen on observing like what strengths and weaknesses people have, and then like playing those. And I think it taught us a lot of life lessons along the way, organizing these things.
What was your fun memory or the most memorable moment you had while you were organizing all these events?
There's one which I shouldn't talk about. I mean, it was kind of controversial, but okay, I'll tell you something. So we wanted a lot of fun events. So right around in front of workshop, there's this field. It's a parking spot, I think. and we organized an event called. We wanted to do something like paintball, but we obviously didn't have the operational readiness. So we were like, okay, what's the next best thing we can do? So we were like, okay, balloon fight, like water balloon fight. Let's do that. And if you hit someone with a water balloon, they're out. And we had two teams, and we had like obstacles, battles, and whatnot. And we were like, oh, this will be fun. Like students will have fun. And we didn't account for the fact that water balloons, when it hits people, it hurts. So come event time, we have first two teams, and these are like people from outside of MJCET who come to visit us. And they're like, oh, we want to play. And then we give them balloons and they hit each other and they get hurt and they get angry and they want to like
fight.
Yeah, start a fight. But that fight, they want like make it a water balloon fight. So they were like, oh, another round. Here's the money. And we were making money out of that. We were making money out of the fact that these people hated each other, these two teams. And it got kind of out of hand to a point where Faratullah sir came in and had to like cancel the event. Can I not name drop?
No, you can. It doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Mom, I didn't.
So that was a very fun memory.
Faratullah sir came in after study time.
He was the vice principal when I was there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you changed the dean probably after 28th.
So, what was your journey from MJCET to senior software developer?
I mean, it was a long journey, honestly. So right after I graduated, I joined a company called Accenture. I was working here in Hyderabad.
Accenture through placement?
Yes.
MG had placements?
Yes.
Wait. We
Whoa.
would love to know about the placement back then, considering it's really different right now.
Okay.
Very good.
What was it like back then, the placement?
I mean, honestly, it was pretty straightforward. Like companies would come and they would just have a cutoff. Like if you have your GPA above a certain threshold, you're in. When you write an aptitude test, which is basically some logical reasoning questions, which was pretty easy, honestly. And then once you like make that cut, you go into a group discussion, and group discussion was just like so random. It was pretty bad. I don't know if you've watched the AIV sketch on campus placements. It was exactly like that. It was like, I remember our discussion point was bulls and bears, and we had no idea about the stock market at that time. We were talking about random stuff, and it was just about how you could talk. I think that was it. Like, we were not allowed to. If you get selected in new companies, you're not allowed to go to other interviews at all. You were barred from it. I joined Accenture, spent 2 years over there, and I was like, okay, I didn't really like it. If I'm being very honest, it was not. I felt like I was wasting my potential as a software engineer. I was always interested in coding. I've been coding since I was in the 10th standard, which was pretty big back then. Like coding wasn't really a thing, and I really liked the creative aspect of programming back then. And I didn't do any of that at Accenture, so I was like, okay, let me move on. And I went for my master's, and that's where like everything opened up for me. Right, like it was a whole new world, and moving to a different continent across the face of the world. It's a huge step, and it taught me a lot of things. I mean, we can talk about that separately, but. Just going to the US, finishing my master's, and that's where I fell in love with programming. Really, like I understood different aspects of programming, like not just from an academic perspective, but actually building stuff. Because I had to work on projects and all of that.
Tried your knowledge there, and that's where you felt, okay, this is how things work. This is more interesting.
Yeah. I think I was so in bachelor's, it's like, oh, write a program to do so and so. I don't think it is like that anymore, but back then it was like, hey, write a program for bubble sort, write a program for Towers of Hanoi or whatever.
Yeah, it's the same right now.
And then that's what you get in the exam, and that's what you write. Yes, there's a creative aspect to it, but it's so limited that you're not thinking outside of that. So there was that. But when I went for my master's, that's where I was like, okay, now you figure out what you want to design. And that we opened up this thing that where I thought, oh, I can build anything. That's interesting. Like, what do I think about it? So anyway, once I did that, I joined. I got placed at a company called CCC. Again, it was all right. It was not very aligned with what I wanted to do with my career, and then so I moved on to a company called Groupon. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was a pretty big company back then in Chicago. So that was one of the reputed companies in Chicago where you want to be. So I went there, and that was like a very interesting experience because it was very fast paced. It was like extreme programming principles. I learned principles like pair programming. I don't know if you've heard of that. But like literally, there's one computer connected to two keyboards and two mice, and then you're literally programming together. So that forces you to
Multiplayer programming.
like voice out your ideas in your like you're not just like stuck with yourself with your own thoughts, like you're sharing your thoughts with some other person and they're like you're working on the same problem together. And that was like you get to learn a lot from that, like from you usually get paired with like a more senior person who has been in the industry for a long period of time, so they like it's really beneficial for knowledge transfer, knowledge dissemination, like, and yeah.
Then I still don't get it. Why did you think Groupon was your big break? I get the whole work culture, but what was your initial job role in Accenture?
In Accenture, I don't even remember. I don't want to remember. It was a bad dream. Honestly, I don't remember what I did. It was probably nothing. It was just, yeah, it was nothing.
For you guys, how does that translate? Because if you're not a specialist, then there's always another person who beats you out for the position. How does that translate over there? It's like saying I'm jack of all trades, but
Uh, uh, there's a huge aspect of luck involved in my career trajectory as well. Meaning, I was born in the golden era, honestly.
yes, you were.
Yeah.
So when literally computer science was just blowing up, people were just figuring out what to do with this. And then there was like a huge uh, market for things. Do you want to stop?
No, keep going. I'll finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a huge demand for software engineers in so many different areas, and I was just there, I guess, with my skills. Now
Now we are
scene
facing
has
this-
changed.
Yeah. Now we're facing the recession. How is it? Was it not a recession not back then in 2008?
It was there, but I graduated in
2000.
2014, so it was pretty stable
Okay.
at that point.
How do you feel? How do you feel like the students should think about recession and overcome this period?
Honestly, I don't have too many good pointers except for just be resilient, I think.
How is the learning?
Like even if you're starting a business, let's say you have a startup and you go in a certain direction, things change. Like maybe there's a competitor who comes up with like a better product than you. You need to pivot. You need to figure out like how to adapt. Adaptability is very important. Adaptability and resilience is extremely important. I think that's if there's any takeaway from here, take that, like adaptability.
Yeah.
Like don't hold yourself into this thing where even though that field is burning, you're like, no, I spent 3 years learning this or 4 years in learning this. No, you need to be like, oh, okay, that has changed. Now how do I adapt? How do I figure out what to do from here? That's what I'm saying.
I think that's something that's not just career-wise, but like in general.
Absolutely.
Most important to be adaptable and to be
Yes.
resilient
Yes.
to that stage.
That's actually very applicable even now because given the atmosphere of MJ specifically with 40 plus clubs and only them indulging extracurriculars or any extra technical awareness whatsoever, since the OU curriculum is age old and we have the same subjects that you had and 15 years gap mein, there's not much difference. So given that, students either gravitate towards clubs or other external sources, not college, is that much is confirmed. So during that, how do you advise students to go about it? As in, do they need to concentrate only on placements, only on GPA?
What do you
Like-
think is like
Because
far more
adaptability
beneficial?
के पीछे भाग के everyone's losing their mind. decided
किसके
to
पीछे भागते हैं?
adaptability. So they either are thinking, okay, I need to have extracurriculars, I need to have volunteer work, social service clubs. Then they're like, I need to uphold my GPA assignment internals में faculty से बात करते करते they are losing it. And then there is also long term internships and jobs. And speaking of internships, right now in my classroom,
Be adaptable, be okay with change, and like really introspect and think about like how you want to go about things. So I think I digressed a little bit from what you were asking, but it's a very broad answer. It's a very broad question, so it's a very broad answer.
What was it like for you, like getting into the IT field? Like, was it because now I think people really do focus on LinkedIn and visibility, and whether it be swapping your job or career roles, or just getting into the tech world. What was it like back then? Was it more GPA based, academic based, or it was more emphasis on communication or visibility? What was it?
I think it was pretty easy, honestly. It wasn't as bad as it is right now. To like break into the industry, to switch roles, to even survive, and that's where luck factor comes in as well, right? Like there was a massive demand for engineers back when I graduated, so it was like I gave up a couple of interviews and they liked me. I mean, honestly, right after my master's, the only question I got asked in the interview was, it wasn't even a question actually. It was like, oh, you remind me of my friend. Your voice sounds like a close friend of mine. That's it. So it was that easy. I'm just saying it out, putting it out there. It was easy. And then after that, it depends on you, right? Like you can be complacent. You can be like, this is enough. This is nice. I'm getting in decent amount of money.
settle down in your
Yeah,
zone.
yeah. And then you can be in that spot. I wasn't like that. I get bored easily. So I kept my eyes open and I was like, oh, what's that? I want to try that. I want to try that. Then
You're curious little bird. You really explored all of the domains and try to keep adapting and evolving in the tech world along with the ages. I'll ask you again. You are already aware of placement situations right now and how everywhere in the world it is very hard to get a job simply because there's an abundance. And like it was thrown into a crowd, you're guaranteed to be an engineer. And given that, what is one thing you would advise youngsters preparing for placements, off campus, hiring, anything, but essentially for jobs that they can apply immediately? I want one answer, not another mix. I want something very concrete. Like I can take it away right now. Things like that.
To be honest, I don't think I'm in a very good position to answer that because I don't know how things work over here in Hyderabad specifically. So if I say something, it might be misleading. So I would rather not answer that question because the context the world has changed since I graduated from MJ, right? So if I say, hey, go out, network, talk to people, that might work, that might not work, who knows? So
Since you asked for the context, I'll paint a picture. Um, the last password batch in June, the fourth years out of 120 CS students, 130 CS students, only like 4 got placed. And that was also because they had referrals and industry links. Otherwise, no company actually approached MJ for a recruitment season, actual campus recruitment stuff.
I think majority of the student also apply for masters rather than
Yeah, it has
accepting. Yeah.
become a norm now that bachelor's isn't enough masters. But even then, just nobody sat for placements, nobody cracked a placement. Everyone wrote the most basic Wipro exam. Everyone failed. And I'm not saying the quality of students have degraded a lot, but it does seem like it. Wipro ka exam bhi being so basic, they have bumped up the difficulty a lot, as in they have multiple rounds and technical rounds are just out of this world. They're asking at least intermediate to expert level DSI questions. So going through 4 rounds, they lose their mind eventually. Because once again, MJ never prepared us for this. Curriculum being age old, and on top of that, there has never been an emphasis over like, okay, you need to lead put every day, practice days of problems, or take up a course and try something like that. that turn in your life comes only when you're out of engineering and like, okay, I gotta do something. उसमें जाके बच्चे courses and certifications exams करे. But even now, MJ does not push any of this which I mentioned. Maybe after that I'm autonomous, maybe. But as of now, no. No campus recruitment training. Myself, I attended 2 weeks of campus recruitment training. No technical training. It was just aptitude for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I get that to some extent aptitude is necessary. But at the end, you are in a technical role, in a professional role. You gotta give me something concrete to work with, something to learn. Given that, placements are at an all-time low. The quality of students has degraded undoubtedly. MJ is in a tough spot. I mean, it's trying its level best to help all the students, but the help isn't reaching anywhere. Given the whole scenario that we are knee-deep in the worst trenches, something practical I can apply immediately. Tell me about.
So I'll answer this question by painting a story. Basically, the first job I got right out of masters was not because. So I was applying, and a lot of people were getting jobs just by applying. A recruiter would reach out, and then there would be an interview, and it was easy, but there would be an interview. But the way I got an in my first company right out of my masters was because I was on a train, and I was just talking to this lady who was sitting next to me, and she turned out to be the HR at that company. And she was like, "Oh, we are hiring at our company. You should apply." And I was like, "Okay, I'll apply." I literally handed her my resume to her on the train, and that's how I got invited. Okay, that's one story. Second story. Now I went to Groupon. Groupon was I don't remember if Groupon reached out to me or I reached out to Groupon, but it was some transition. But after Groupon, Chicago was slim pickings. Like there aren't a lot of big tech companies. At least there weren't back then. When I graduated, so everything was like in Silicon Valley and Seattle and whatnot. Like if you want to make it big, you go there. But I had my family over here in Chicago, so I didn't want to leave Chicago. But I wanted to work in a big company, where I could learn. So there was this company called Braintree, which was acquired by PayPal, and I really wanted to work there because it fit my profile. Now I applied, never got an answer. I applied again, like multiple times. Years go by, like literally years, and nothing. I stalked people from that company on LinkedIn, Facebook. I started messaging them, and I'm like, "Hey, I work on this, I work on that." 90% of the time, no answer. There was one time where some person reached out and like, "Okay, I'll introduce you to someone else," and I was hustling back then. I was trying to get an in because it was really targeted approach where I was like, okay, I learned everything about their interview process. I learned everything about like how they're structured, like what projects they have ongoing, and similar things happen to me now where like there are candidates in interviews and I take interviews. Candidates come in and they're like name dropping subtly. They're talking about technologies that are like extremely niche to what we do. They're talking about how our product is positioned in the market. You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to like
they're showing
get my exactly. They're trying to get my attention to the fact that they're paying attention to, and I'll remember that name a lot more, right? Like the candidates who come in, answer the question, move on. But I will remember the person who talked about very niche things, very specific things. So I would say network a lot, talk to a lot of people, and have a targeted approach. It's not just like networking is not just a very vague thing, right? Like you really know, you should know what you want to talk about. Like go to meetups. I don't know if Hyderabad has this culture of like tech meetups.
It has, it's forgotten now.
Talk to people who are already in the industry. Talk in ways which showcases that you're passionate about certain things. And then it don't come off as like, oh, you go in and you go like, hey, I want a job. Like, I'm just interested in learning what you work on, and have side projects. And like, if you're really passionate about things, like build things and talk to a lot of people. I'm like, it's a slow burn process, honestly. Like you talk to so many people, and over the years, you don't know how your network will help you in the future, right? Like now I feel like after having spent decades in the industry, things just happen. Like when I want something, I just talk about it with a few people. They connect me to someone else. They connect me to someone else, and then suddenly I'm talking to someone who's like, "Oh, will you become the founder of this company I'm trying to start?" So things just happen. It becomes easier with time, but you need to like put in that effort to actually talk to people, build a brand. I think you need to have your own brand. Like when I think about a fund,
Yes.
I need to go like, oh, this guy works in this, and he is pretty smart. He's very resilient. He's passionate. Like, and if I'm convinced because I'm talking to you, I'll talk to my friend who's probably doing something. Hey, I met this kid who was pretty passionate about it. You should talk to him. Like rather than you submitting a resume at random companies, that's the route that's way more effective in my opinion.
Yeah. For
What I
networking
think-
and in building your own brand.
Yeah.
Okay. How was it like doing your masters and like any experiences that you have that changed?
I mean, it's a big like the first few years that you're there. At least back in my time, it was very different. Now I feel like if you do move to the US, there's a lot of support around you. Like people who are settled are usually around you, who will help you out, like help you figure out like how the system works. But back then, when I had moved, it was like okay,
You got to figure it out by yourself.
the first week
Did you face racism as comparative to now? I think people are more awake because of this generation, and it's a lot different now comparative.
I honestly, so it's a very heavy subject, honestly, racism.
Yeah.
But racism is never or rarely in your face. It's like you're so and so, and like there's very rarely like loud racism.
No,
She means it in the context of your professional brand.
Yeah,
As in, it's your masters and like your professors and ultimately your recruitment, stuff like that. Did that impact your professional
because we have this
trajectory?
news coming out that because a person faced racism or something like that was subjected to
Their resumes are purposely trashed
yeah.
and faculty and professors give them a hard time. Things like that. So I meant it in professional sense.
I haven't faced it honestly. There might be something like that happening. I'm sure there are cases like that. But social media is social media. It's
Yes.
exaggerated. The angrier opinions are more
Broadcasted by
broadcasted, and it's like you think that the whole world is on fire. Like honestly,
Yeah,
it goes the other way too. When I was like, I came after 6 years, and sitting in the US looking at news from India, it feels like, oh my god, everything's on fire. Like India is just going to the dogs. Like I can't go
Just a
there.
couple headlines do not justify the entire population.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. Honestly, I don't think you should judge you. And people love to talk.
In the
there's-
US, yes.
No, not in the US, but in India too, like about how things are over there. Like, I think you need to talk to people who are actually there, who are actually experiencing things, and even then, you need to talk to multiple people to form a
Okay, yeah.
informed opinion, at least. But for me, I think it's not as bad.
Oh, okay.
It's still pretty good. I still like it there.
That's good. That's
No,
good.
no, that's
Before we move on to the rapid fire round, I want to ask you one question where like we all have this one life-changing, life-altering experience in college, whether it be good, bad, but something that, you know, when you walk out of this college, okay, this is one major thing that I learned. It necessarily not might be career-wise, but in general, we have character app development through those experiences.
I think before this podcast started, I was talking to you, and you were talking about how you became an extrovert from an introvert. I think that happened to me too. Like when I
Introverted.
introvert to extrovert. And I was a pretty shy kid. Like I didn't talk to anyone. But once I got into MJ, I was talking to a lot of people. I was organizing things.
you were bullying people.
Good, right?
Uh,
We'll call it icebreaker, guys.
yeah, it was not good. It was ice breaking. Anyway, but that experience has taught me a lot. Like I've made some lifelong friends over here. Like the strongest connections I have still to this day have been like friends I made at MJ. So that's
That happens.
Definitely.
Wait. I think I just had this conversation with my cousin yesterday, and it was about how we as a generation are like more into transactional relationship than to have empathy and care. Like people are more transactional these days. Like if I bring something to the table and you bring something to the table, that's the only way we interact or we care about each other. Otherwise, I would not bat an eye with you.
I think that's generally the case everywhere, even in personal relationships, except for maybe your like parents and your siblings. Every relationship is like that, even with your like cousins or whatnot. And if you and transaction doesn't have to be like materialistic transaction, like oh you get me something like literally. It can be emotional too, right? Like how you make me like if I'm really mean to you, why would you want to hang out with me? Like I need to bring something to the table, which is being nice.
It is more materialistic these days. I would say
Okay.
that.
I don't know about that. But this is a very deep and philosophical question, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
You may not touch that.
No, but I think it's preparing for you. Like the right life, like this college life is preparing you for all those feelings, right? Like it's only going to get difficult. I would say in those terms, in terms of like managing your emotions, managing your relationships. People get busy, people will get married eventually, like people will have their own priorities in life and you kind of rank lower and lower in their life.
Did you have any expectations when you walked into the college? For me personally, it was like, oh, this is where I'll learn life. Okay? Because I was an introvert kid, and somehow I had this view about when I get into the college that I'll have something to learn from here.
I mean, that sounds very filmy, but that was
No, that's my experience too.
No,
Yeah,
you do have this
seriously the
experience. I
case.
think that's with everyone, I guess. Like for me, I was aware about it. I was like, that's something that's gonna happen. That's
I was
college.
anticipating it. Like,
That's
college
inevitable
gonna
kind of thing for
transform
me.
I'm sorry, what?
I was anticipating it. College will transform me, not in the ways I expected, but it will transform me. Because so
But who nahi?
who are very unexpected and very unique ways who are. I could have never imagined I would be coming across things like this.
Pretty life changing, honestly. Like, I relate with what she's saying.
Yeah.
Where it's like I did learn about life at MJ. Obviously not everything, but a huge portion of it.
Most of it.
I definitely see life at MJ as like a huge chunk of my personality, honestly.
Yeah, I would
We
agree
do
with
too.
that. We do, yeah.
Thankfully, we are on the
That's why when I came here, it was like, oh,
nostalgia.
nostalgia, nahi, matlab, everything was like, oh, I learned life over here. Like these are the halls that I walked around like as an insecure kid. And now I'm alhamdulillah in a good position. That's all.
Yeah.
You were all sharing my experiences. That was lovely, honestly. So quick rapid fire round. Shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, first thing before that, do you guys had canteen back then?
Which one? Veg or non-veg?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
nothing.
good, don't they? I thought it was like later
There
on.
was also this Safed stall and I think Block 1 which would sell packaged foods or something.
No.
Were there anything like that?
No, we just have two candies.
Okay.
Do they still sell chicken 65 with Rumali roti?
Yes.
Yeah.
How much is it now?
120, right?
Oh, 50. 150.
150.
It's 25 rupees per now.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Nice.
Okay, we'll start with this only. What's veg canteen or non-veg canteen?
Non-veg.
One snack you still crave from MJ canteen.
Chicken 65 with Rumali roti.
Fest or sports meet? Which do you enjoy the most?
That's
Attending classes or bunking them?
bunking.
Your most memorable MJ event.
Split street.
One thing you wish MJ students today would have learned from your batch.
Maintaining friendships, although not so much anymore, but yeah.
Okay. Favorite professor, if any?
Hajra ma'am.
Okay.
Cool.
That concludes our podcast, our very long-awaited podcast. And thank you from the early days of Fest to the vibrant culture we see at MJ today. And inspiring how far we have come. And the conversation like these remind us to keep going strong.
before we sign off, we would like to ask you what SAFAR means to you personally.
Suffer. Oh, not the English suffer.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it describes how life is, and we were talking about it before the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
people are so fixated on the destination, they forget to enjoy
Enjoy
the
journey.
suffer.
The SAFAR, yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit of suffering in the
Why,
suffer,
yeah.
but that's life. That's okay. If there's no suffering in the suffer, then the high points have no value. So enjoy everything, I would say.
That's beautiful. You have said it so gracefully, honestly. Thanks to everyone listening. Thanks for tuning into SAFAR. We got way more stories coming up for you straight from our heart. And until next time, हर सफर की अपनी कहानी होती है. The roads we take shape the stories we tell. And these stories stays with us forever.
We would like to express our sincerest gratitude towards Sultan Ulum Knowledge Hub Foundation. It's a space where learners meet innovation. Whether you want to upskill, you want to meet like-minded learners, or you want to put your ideas to life, SU is the best space for it. Just the way it has provided us the opportunity by helping out with mentorship, resources, as well as the venue to shoot our lifelong dream of a podcast. It will also help you out bringing your innovative ideas to life. So do check out SU Knowledge Hub, and once again a big thank you and a shout out to SU.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning into SAFAR. We got more story coming up for you. And until next time, हर सफर की अपनी कहानी होती है. The road we take shape the stories we tell, and those stories stays with us forever. I'm Amtul Jameel.
And I am Mohammad Afan Ahmed signing out
out.
from SAFAR.